It soon became clear that Everton and Watford was to be the friendly final, as following the example of the officials of both clubs, their supporters came together as friendly rivals at a sporting occasion. Elton John, chairman of Watford, added another dimension to the occasion, and his reaction to Abide With Me, which was sung with emotion and enthusiasm, was memorable. The issue on the field was a simple one. Could Watford, having made history by getting to Wembley, prevent the favourites Everton from winning a major trophy once again, something which in days gone by was a regular habit? But at 3 o'clock kick-off time, even the brave ones were saying, yes, it should be Everton, but. Your commentator, John Motson.
So stand by for what must be the youngest cup final of all time. Only 2 players over 27 years of age. On the Everton side, Andy Gray at 28 is the oldest and has the widest Wembley experience, although he and the youngest member of the 12, 20-year-old Trevor Stephen at number 7, are the only 2 who didn't play in the Milk Cup final this year. But Stephen was capped here as a schoolboy, so all the Everton players have sampled Wembley before. By contrast, for Watford, only number 10 Kenny Jackett and number 11 John Barnes in the starting 11 have played here in the past, both for their country. Goalkeeper Steve Sherwood is 30, but 9 of the 12 are 22 or under, with surely the youngest back 4 that you could possibly imagine. David Bardsley, 19, Steve Terry, 21, Neil Price, the number 3, is 20, and at number 6, the youngest player in the cup final, 18-year-old Lee Sinnott, who joined Watford from Walsall only last September. One player with perhaps rather different sentiments. Watford's club captain, Wilf Rostron, voted Player of the Year again only last weekend, but suspended from this FA Cup final. But other unlucky players there as well. Steve Sims at the back, ruled out by injury for Watford. Mark Higgins in the blazer to the right of Everton, but they're entering into the spirit of the occasion. The referee, John Hunting, whose last match it is before retirement. And as Riley and Johnston wait to start the final, Graham Taylor with John Ward to the left of the picture, Billy Hales to the right. So all is prepared, and Watford in the yellow shirts and red shorts start the 1984 FA Cup final, playing from left to right, just 6 years after coming out of the 4th division. Mountfield was close to Riley there from the start. Now, can Watford get their wingers into the match? That could prove a vital factor. Lee Sinnott's got a very long throw, the number 6, and he'll be aiming possibly for Riley's head there. Johnston is closing, Barnes is up at the far post, and Southall forced to make a save in the opening minute. From John Barnes' header. Little touch by Gray, found Heath. They've got Trevor Stephen out on the right wing, number 7. Taking on Price, gets his cross in, and Sharp was there. Good wing play by Everton, and Trevor Stephen. Remember, 3 of the wide men are not playing. Sheedy, Curran and Irvine all injured, but Sharp's header from Stevens' cross. And Heath again. And Richardson. He's normally a good finisher. That wasn't the best of angles by any standards, but Richardson has scored a couple of very good goals in recent league matches that I've seen. And there he went for the near post area, perhaps just sensing a gap between Sherwood and the post, and the ball caught the outside. There's Taylor, and then Bardsley. And Ratcliffe clears. Sharp's header. That was Stephen winning against Price and releasing Heath. Andy Gray is in the centre. Peter Reed's up on the right. It's still Adrian Heath. And it came off Price for a corner. Heath tried to chip, and Neil Price got a foot in the way. So a corner to Everton, for which Mountfield and Sharp are on the near post. Here comes Gary Stevens. Oh. Well, that was a tester too for Steve Sherwood. Wonder if Stevens meant that as a cross. It turned out to be a very useful shot. There's Taylor. Barnes is trying to stay onside on the far wing. He's come inside for it, and he's got into a good position here. John Barnes for Watford. Good save by Southall. Les Taylor. Stevens and his defence caught out by a crossfield ball, which really bisected the Everton defence. John Barnes came in from the wing. Watch the goalkeeper first of all, because as Barnes made room, Southall saved, or the defender in front of him in fact blocked it, Mountfield, and Les Taylor drove narrowly wide. So close for Watford.
It's symptomatic, John, of the game, and the reason the goalkeepers are busy is that both attacking sides are playing the ball through the defences. They're not playing the safe ball, they're looking for the space beyond all the while, and that was a perfect example, that through ball to Barnes. But both teams are doing it, and it's lovely, positive football.
It is indeed, and that was Reed to Sharp. And interesting that there were two long passes in that last Watford move, but they both found the target, and they opened up the Everton defence. Perfect vindication of the Watford style. Here is Sharp, and Stephen came across there. I would imagine the feeling down there is that young Neil Price at left back is being well tested by Trevor Stephen, the number 7, because as he tries to track his man, Stephen comes across the edge of the penalty area, gets just beyond Price there into a shooting position. So the 20-year-old with his hands full. There's Callahan. Oh, good ball. Mo Johnston and Gary Stevens having to come across. And Everton are getting caught square by this bubbling Watford attack. Johnston, the instigator of that move. Sharp. Richardson. Again, they've got good width on the right, but the pass only found Price. And here's Barnes. Is Johnston going to stay onside? He has, and Barnes has gone through himself. A great run. And Gary Stevens is a very good athlete, which he needs to be tonight, this fellow. Got back so well. That was a mighty important piece of defending by the Everton number 2. It's good to see both teams using the full width of the Wembley pitch. Watford, we knew, would do that with Callahan and Barnes, but Everton have had Stephen playing outside right and Kevin Richardson often pulling away to the left-hand touchline. There is Stephen, in fact, away from Price. Into Reed, good advantage played by John Hunting. And Reed comes through for Everton. Well, Peter Reed, a battler to start with in the middle of the field. He's always been that, a competitive edge to his play, but when he saw the chance to go through on his own, he took it. Now Callahan, Barnes is waiting for a possible through pass, so is Johnston, and they're offside. Linesman Alan Saunders from Newcastle upon Tyne, who is a Football League referee. Gray's header to Stephen. And Stephen's cross. It was too long for Andy Gray. Johnston's flick. Riley. And Johnston's gone through the centre, and he's onside. Mo Johnston is through for Watford. And Southall saves the first effort, and Bailey gets the ball away. It's been a memorable season for the two players involved there. Certainly for Mo Johnston, who's scored so many goals and threatened so many defences, but also for Neville Southall, who made the save. It was a close offside decision, I would think, to start with, but Johnston had Bailey on his heels and Southall coming out. What a good opening that was for Watford. Here's Taylor. Charging through from midfield. A brilliant run by Les Taylor. And his second shot to shave that goalpost. The Watford fans enjoying what they've been used to this season from Les Taylor. He thrusts his way forward from midfield. He's prepared to go all the way. Captain for the day, showing a good sense of leadership there when he saw an opening in front of him. I think it's fair to say that in the first half, Watford have made the cleaner openings. But it's such a good match to watch, and here's Peter Reid handing over to Andy Gray. Richardson. And here he is again. And the cross headed half away. And Stephen Sharp! And a goal for Everton by Graham Sharp! Everton in front after 38 minutes. And Graham Sharp, who wouldn't have played in this final possibly had other players been fit, is the scorer. Stevens got it through first of all. Sharp turned and drove it low inside the post with Sherwood still standing. Graham Sharp, who has run into a rich vein of form these last 2 or 3 weeks. Strikes for Everton, if anything, slightly against the run of play. Graham Sharp, 3 goals in 3 games before today, keeps up the average. Johnston, Barnes is coming in on the far side, and good jumping by Gary Stevens. An instant shot by Sharp, and it took Sherwood by surprise. So the Mersey sound rings around Wembley as the Everton supporters celebrate the opening goal 7 minutes before half-time. But are Everton vulnerable just after they've scored? 4 men spread along the goal line by Watford as Callaghan takes the corner. And the header out is by Andy Gray. Callaghan again. Jimmy Hill.
Well, Graham Sharp has been criticised for his goal-per-game ratio, and it's one of the reasons, I think, why in the past Everton has found it difficult to score goals prolifically. But in other ways, he's a complete player. He's quick, nimble, leads the line well, can lay the ball about, got a bit of pace and can cross well. But the one fault has been that little bit of nervousness in finishing. He seems to be conquering it lately, and he'll become a very good player indeed if that's the case. Splendid goal, luck favoured him because it flicked in off the post.
Also, I think, Jimmy, a very good piece of measured build-up down the left-hand side between Kevin Richardson and Peter Reid, which was Nice orderly football which preceded the goal. John Bailey takes the free kick for Everton. Andy Gray's flick, here's Adrian Heath. Couldn't get the volley, Les Taylor could. And now Jacket forward only as far as Reed. Heath. Everton are on a high. Trevor Stephen. Into the body of Price. Stephen again. Gets his cross in this time. Andy Gray heads it back. Terry heads it out. Richardson! Again, Trevor Stephen giving the young left-back problems. The cross was good. Andy Gray, he thrives on that sort of service. Heading it back. And when the ball was knocked out by Steve Terry from Sharp, in came Richardson with a drive well over the bar. Everton, whose form has been so good leading up to the FA Cup final, they've kept it going in the league. In fact, they finished with 3 successive wins, Everton, and they've finished this first half with a 1-goal lead. Thanks to 23-year-old Graham Sharp, of whom Howard Kendall said to me earlier in the week, he doesn't score tap-ins, but he scores unexpected goals. And the Everton manager will be very pleased with that one, coming exactly when it did. So John Hunting gets the second half started. Watford now playing from the right. Here's Les Taylor. Richardson. It's Callahan. And it's Riley. Taylor. And again, Barnes, the Watford player, further forward. But the fullback knows that he has to follow this man. That's Gray's flick. Callahan didn't see much of the ball in the first half. And that pass came off Mountfield to Riley, who gets the ball in, and it's going to run on to Kenny Jackett. And the chip in. And Southall did brilliantly. Kenny Jackett's cross. Southall's had an outstanding season. Riley caused danger on the right. Barnes couldn't make the cross, but Jackett could. He returned the ball, and with Barnes hovering, Southall stretched to make a splendid save. First one hand, then the other. Flags up on my side of the field. Referee hasn't seen it, but he has acknowledged it now. So Jackett and Riley both involved in that Watford build-up. Here's Sharp. Heath across to Stephen. Stevens coming down the right.
Well, there's one that went wrong. He's had a pretty good game up to now. A superb piece of goalkeeping. Neville Southall stretching full length with his right hand and making it a superb save at the second attempt.
That's Riley's flick, and Johnston was waiting behind Mountfield, who's been solid. Here's Reed. Stephen. Flags up, the ball was out. Stephen again. Gray and Sharp waiting in the centre. And Gray is closing in here. Oh, and Sherwood didn't collect, and the goal is given. challenge of Gray, too much for the goalkeeper, and Everton are 2-0 in the lead, and Sherwood disappointed. Gray and Everton ecstatic as Trevor Steven crossed the ball from the right. Andy Gray comes in, marked by Steve Terry, but he beats him and Sherwood, and the ball is in the net. And Merseyside, the Evertonians, are celebrating their second goal. Good right-wing play again by Trevor Steven. What a fine match he's having. And Andy Gray just comes in, and the two of them take a tumble. And at the other end, Taylor puts the ball through for Watford, who find themselves 2 goals down after 52 minutes. And here's Sharp. Steven again. He's teasing this lad Price, and he's beating him. And forcing a corner off him this time. Sherwood not the first goalkeeper to be bombarded by Andy Gray, and that's been Gray's trademark down the years. He goes in where it hurts, where there are people competing in difficult areas, and often it's paid off for him, certainly today. Corner to Everton. Reed. Barnes challenging. Kept the ball in. Richardson. And Jackett volleying it forward. And a foul by George Riley on John Bailey. But the way Bailey reacted, symptomatic of the sportsmanship in this match. Howard Kendall's team, 2 goals to the good. And surely now, with one hand you'd think on the cup, but don't forget, strange things happen in cup finals. Back in the 60s, Everton were actually 2 down to Sheffield Wednesday and came back to win 3-2. And the Watford chairman will be hoping the same happens again here, the other way round. And here is Gray again. Price's header out. Now, will Watford change their tactics and bring on Paul Atkinson? I know there was a feeling one of the reasons he was made sub was because they can change their formation, switch 1 or 2 players around. They're 2 goals behind, and knowing Graham Taylor's thoughts on that, it's a consideration which is obviously in their minds at this moment. Just wonder whether the reorganisation might involve Neil Price, who's having a torrid time at left-back. Any moment now. Paul Atkinson's previous Wembley experience, merely a 6-a-side tournament before the Charity Shield with Oldham some 6 years ago. But this is the real thing for him now. The man coming off is Neil Price, the 20-year-old left-back, who played because Rostron was suspended. And Paul Atkinson, who joined Watford from Oldham and then promptly broke his ankle before the start of the season proper, is on the pitch. And Kenny Jackett to left-back is surely the change, with Atkinson playing on the left side of midfield. There's Kenny Jackett, who's a versatile player. John Bailey. Well, a Watford goal could put a completely different complexion on the match, but it would be against the run of play if it comes. Riley is in there. Bailey is the defender on the ball. And Graham Sharp, a good challenge, and Reed is thundering forward from midfield. He broke clear of Les Taylor. There are 2 others after him, including Kenny Jackett, who got a foot in. It's a good thing he did, because that was an inspirational run by Peter Reed. Good examples in this match, both from Reed and from Les Taylor earlier, of midfield players coming through ahead of the strikers. Header by Ratcliffe. The flag was up for an offside. A warm, pleasant afternoon at Wembley. Fine conditions in which to watch or play. Here's Taylor, and now Barnes. Callahan trying to sort something out here. Offside, won't count. Mo Johnston put the ball in the net, no goal. Nigel Callahan won the ball from a couple of Everton players and chipped his little cross in there, but the flag was up as Mo Johnston finished it off. The new LP, shortly to be released by Elton John, is called Broken Hearts. And there might be one or two of those around Watford tonight. They trail 2-0, and Graham Taylor must know, barring a miracle, the game is up now. Short of Everton collapsing completely, the FA Cup is on its way to Merseyside to join the Milk Cup and the League Championship trophy and the FA Youth Cup, which Everton have also won. So stand by for a huge celebration, bedecked in blue and white, which is already starting on the terraces. Reid. Well, how long Evertonians have waited to hear this sound. So close, just over a minute separating Howard Kendall and Everton from the FA Cup. And the challenge of the young pretenders from Watford has on this occasion been put very firmly in its place. Jacket with the throw. Atkinson. Stevens watching him closely. Callahan. Flags up, offside. And this long, agonising wait for Evertonians everywhere is almost over. After all those years in the shadow of Liverpool, they are seconds away from a major football honour. And the sporting Watford fans are acknowledging that, as well as the performance of their own team. Andy Gray's signing turned Everton's season, and his goal clinched the FA Cup. The first trophy for 14 years. Graham Sharp, scorer of the first goal. Everton worthy winners of the FA Cup in 1984. Howard Kendall, who lived through such tortuous times, especially early this season, sees his season and his team's season end in triumph. Graham Taylor, who will conduct himself, I'm sure, with his usual dignity. And who knows, he and Watford may well be back. But he knows too that on the day they were beaten by a better side. And I'm sure the Watford chairman would endorse that. They've come a very long way, and there'll be no disgrace for them in losing in the final. Up the stairs they go, and Kevin Ratcliffe, the youngest FA Cup winning captain for 20 years, since Bobby Moore received the cup for West Ham back in '64. He's only 23. He goes forward to receive the FA Cup on behalf of Everton Football Club. A memorable moment for Evertonians everywhere. Their first major trophy for 14 years. Graham Sharp, first goal went to him, and Andy Gray behind him got the second. Derek Mountfield, solid in defence. Southall, whose save should not be overlooked. Kevin Richardson, one of the most improved players in the squad. John Bailey kissing his medal. Gary Stevens and Trevor Stephen, especially the latter, had fine matches. Peter Reid after an injury-stricken career, and Adrian Heath, the top scorer, as Les Taylor leads up the beaten finalist Watford, who get a pat on the back from the chairman. But the winners are Everton. A surge of confidence in this second half of the season, which has brought 2 Wembley finals, and with the second one comes the FA Cup.
Graham, when your goal arrived, it was a little bit against the run of play, wasn't it? Watford were going well.
Yes, before we went out to start the game, the boss said, well, let's not start off slowly. But I don't know what happened. We started off slowly for the first 20 minutes. But I think after that, when the goal went in, I think it settled us down a bit. And fortunately for us, just after half-time, when Andy scored, that killed the game, I think.
Would you agree in those early stages that Neville Southall turned the game for you in a way?
I don't know if he turned the game. I think in saying that, we had a few chances as well, but on more of the play, Watford had more of the play. Obviously Neville's been doing well all season, so we could depend on him really until the last minute, and he proved what he's one of the best goalkeepers in the country at the moment.
Let's talk about your goal. To me it looked really only a half chance. You'd almost got back to goal.
Yes, they tried to push up for offside really when it came to Gary Stevens, who had a shot. I managed to stop the ball. The first touch was quite good, and I just managed to swivel, and the shot went in off the post. So delighted to see it going in. Really, it's a dream to play here, but to score as well, I'm made up really.
And you really seemed to settle down as a team after that?
Yes, I think, as I said, the first 20 minutes we struggled a bit really because we started slowly, but after we scored that, we settled down, as you said, and we were the better side really at the end of the day.
Andy, your goal came early enough really to almost kill the game, didn't it, in the second half?
I think it was very important that the timing of the goal was ultra important, Bob, because, as you said, Watford started very well. We said at half-time in the dressing room, we've got off the hook. We've come in 1-up when we don't really deserve to be 1-up, and we felt we had to go out and stamp our authority on the game early on. And fortunately for us, we did, and we got a goal within 7 minutes, and that seemed to settle us down. And I didn't think from that minute on that we were ever going to lose the game. I thought we were in control, and the lads at the back coped with them from then on, no problem at all, really.
Now, it was a strange goal, almost a controversial goal. Come on, let's have it. Did you touch that ball?
It was a funny goal. I mean, as it came over from the right, Trevor Stevens made a great run, and he stuck the ball to the back post. I didn't think I was going to get there at all, but I managed to get in front of Steve Terry, and as the keeper went up, he kind of half juggled it in one hand, Bob, and I just went in and put my head there. And whether it was his hand, half ball, I mean, obviously made contact with something, and it went in. But I think the referee was in a super position. I think he's seen I didn't make contact with the goalkeeper at all. The goalkeeper didn't have control of the ball, and he gave the goal. And as you noticed, I mean, if you noticed then, Watford didn't complain one little bit about it. So, I mean, we were highly delighted. But I think 9 times out of 10, the goalkeeper might have got the advantage there. But that's the kind of bits of luck that win FA Cup finals.
It's a great day for Everton Football Club. They're on the way back, aren't they?
These supporters deserve success. As somebody said this morning, he's waited 14 years for a cup final ticket. Well, we've given him not only a cup final ticket, we've given him the FA Cup. And these people out here in blue and white deserve it.
Lads, thanks very much. Well done.
Bob. Thank you.
Well, an excellent game with plenty of goal-mouth action, but for other reasons, even more important for the future of the game of football. I look upon myself as pretty fortunate to have been there, and even more so to be sharing Everton's joy with manager Howard Kendall and his wife Cynthia at what turned out to be their lucky hotel. It's in Buckinghamshire, and before we start our celebration, let's spare a thought really for Watford, the losers, who played their part to the full this afternoon. Bob Wilson travelled back on the coach with manager Graham Taylor and his lads, and this is what happened.
As Wembley 84 recedes into the night, it's by no means all gloom and doom for the young Watford side. As they travel home, the champagne corks pop, and deservedly so. It also helps as the inquests begin.
At the start of this season anyhow, Bob, Rita and myself, my wife, we decided that when we'd win, we'd stay in, and when we'd lose, we'd go on the booze. So this is just started.
You are disappointed, aren't you, after such a good start to the game?
Of course I am. I think the thing is that we came here expecting to win, wanting to win. The greatest enjoyment out of any cup final is to win. And what I saw in the first half gave me a lot of hope. We didn't get the rub of the green when we needed it, when we wanted it. But even at 1-0 down, which I thought we were unfortunate to go in at that score. We felt we'd come out in the second half, and I've seen the Watford laddies do it so often, come out, come from 1-0 down and get hold of the game. Unfortunately, the second goal came along only 8 minutes into the second half, and it killed us off, really. I could almost see us wilt, because I think they almost subconsciously felt that the world was against them when the goal was allowed to stand.
But I must say, Graham, the lads they've been asking me, did you think both goals were legal?
Well, there was this little talk about the first goal. They wondered if it was offside as well. But, I mean, the thing is that you've got to have the breaks. Today, Everton, we could have scored 2 goals like that in any other game, even today's game, but we didn't. And they're legal because the referees allow them. And that's the end of the matter. You can't alter that kind of situation.
Maurice, you did get the ball in the back of the net, but what did you feel about that?
Well, I never really knew much about it. Nigel played a good ball through the middle. I just broke through the defence. Next minute, linesman had his flag up. So I just really need to wait till tonight to see what it was like.
Presumably it was for offside?
Yeah, it probably was for offside, not unless it was infringement somewhere else, but I don't think so.
I think Neville Southall played some part in Everton winning that cup, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Well, the first half, I think it was down to us. We missed a few chances, they taking their chances, and that was it. They won the cup.
Still enjoyed the day?
I enjoyed it, just a bit gutted right enough, losing the cup.
The shot's gone in. Have you all stepped up like that?
Lads, can I just ask you to make a little inquest into that first goal, because there certainly seems quite a lot of doubt. Neil, what about you first?
Well, as I feel, we all stepped up, and it was Sharp that scored the goal, and I feel that we're at least level with Sharp, if not pushed through Sharp. And I feel that the linesman was a bit suspect in not raising his flag at the end of the day.
Well, the people Steve, with no hair, really, why?
Well, as we were saying, like both the centre halves, me and Lee just pushed past both the centre forwards, and we thought they were off. And as we looked round, he looked like he was offside, so there was a bit of doubt. Yeah. That's what they were.
Yeah,
training.
David, presumably it was you, if anybody, that was playing out.
Well, from my angle of view, it looked when the ball went straight out and I turned right, it was offside. It looked from my angle, it was 1 yard behind me at least.
So Stephen picked up the ball in about the right half position, getting on towards the 18-yard box, and he sort of mishit the shot. And as I feel, like the 2 centre halves pushed up quite well. And if anything, it's me or Dave that played the guy on. But I'm sure the guy was at least level with me or Dave. I mean, I think it was a yard or offside, definitely.
And no doubts about the second one being a foul on Stevie Sherwood.
I mean, you've seen Andy, and Andy said that he didn't make no contact with the ball. So it can't be a goal, really, you know.
Looking back on that first half, John, there were a couple of chances, one perhaps even in the first minute of the game.
Yeah, well, I did very well to even get to it because it was must have been about at least 12 feet in the air. So I just really go to
John, you've done everything.
I couldn't really manage to direct it down. And the time when I went through and beat about 6 people, the defender he done well to get back and tackle me because I really left him standing. So that was excellent play on his part, really.
Pat, you think the lads will be back?
Oh, absolutely, Bob. Absolutely. No fear. No fear.
What about those lucky boots? Are they really going to be thrown and ditched now? Because I know you wore them.
Did you see them? I don't know. I put them in the bag at the moment. I'll stroke them up, talk to them, see if they think they're really finished. But I've been trying to get rid of those for a year now. Like, I'm sorry. I think they'll have to go. I really think they'll have to go. Perhaps we can auction them off for somebody. Eh? I don't know.
But it's still been a great day for Watford Football Club.
I've been led to believe, Bob, that the crowd and everything was great. We're in the dressing room. We didn't see too much of it. I've been told that Abide With Me was sung properly. I'm told the national anthem was sung as well as one can sing it. So it's been very, very, very good. I mean, I think the thing is about it, if we had won it, there'd be no reason to go back again, would there?
Well, Howard and Cynthia, I'm not going to embarrass you with it, but just for the people at home, to clear up a couple of points, my view firmly is that the first goal was not offside, and the second one, in no way did Andy Gray foul the keeper. He went for the ball, and in fact may have played a whisker of it, but certainly in no way fouled Steve Sherwood. So that gets you off the hook on that, and it's an objective opinion, but tell me, where's the cup?
Well, it's a little bit disappointing. I mean, the players wanted their own function actually in London, and we decided at the end of the game that we'd allow them the FA Cup. Hopefully, it's safe, Jimmy.
To get rid of him? You want to be alone with the wife for the night?
No, I wanted them with me tonight. Actually.
Did you?
Oh yes. I mean, they've done it. We've had a tremendous 84. And I wanted the FA Cup here with me as well as the players.
Cynthia, excuse me, did you want them with you tonight, or would you rather just be here with Howard like this?
Oh no, I could quite like their company as well.
Do you?
Yes.
Yeah, you've not... Does it not put pressure on you, this game, through your husband, the manager? Because he's had an up-and-down season, hasn't he?
Yes, there have been bad times this season, but we came through them, and today is not a day to remember bad times. This is the great times.
Yeah, so you can stand the pressure as well as him, the old man. Almost.
38 on Tuesday.
38 on Tuesday. Yeah, you are a young fellow. I forgot that, really, being a manager. Last night, rather interesting on television, you said, when I asked you, you'd come to win the cup because you were under pressure. You felt that Everton had to do something in that city. And Graham said he wanted a lovely day to remember, and it seemed that your priorities were slightly different. Do you reckon that affected the result?
I think it was always the important thing for me. I think that looking back on it, maybe Watford were so delighted that they were appearing at Wembley for the first time. But what it meant to Everton Football Club was a great deal more. I mean, they'd been in the shadows of Liverpool for so long. It meant European qualification. It meant that we were returning to play Liverpool in the Charity Shield, and which, I mean, if you remember the Milk Cup, I mean, it was so great an occasion. I mean, all our fans from Merseyside came down and had a tremendous day out.
Yeah.
And they've got another one to look forward to.
And not another 0-0.
No, we proved today we can score goals. Very good defence as well, though.
You're a big city club,
Yes.
and Laurie McMenamin's always talking about the difference between the sort of provincial ones and the big ones. But you've sort of lived in the shadows a bit. But you're not spendthrifts, are you? You have to work on a budget.
Yeah, you work within the financial restrictions of a club, and I think that's the way that the club is run. It's run very, very professionally, and I mean, I admire the way that the club is run. I mean, my chairman is absolutely superb, and he does everything that he possibly can to help me. And if he's in a position that he can strengthen the team and strengthen the squad, then he gives me the money that is available. And he did that last week. We signed Paul Bracewell from Sunderland, and I'm sure he's going to be a tremendous addition to the squad. And if we can strengthen again, we will do within our budget.
But there was a point this season where Graham Taylor said that if he'd been relegated, he would have thought about resigning. There must have been a time where you thought, are they going to stay with me, or do I want to stay on under these circumstances? Because it really was bad, wasn't it, before
Well,
Christmas?
yeah, it wasn't good. I mean, we weren't winning at home and we weren't scoring goals at home, but I mean, are they going to stay with me? I mean, with all due respect, the people that I wanted to stay with me were the people on the terraces, because I had tremendous affection with them as a player. And although I needed a little bit of support at that particular time, which the chairman and directors gave me, it was the people out there that I cared for and wanted to do well for.
Been very well rewarded, but of course they knew you know how to play the game.
Well, I
just
mean,
a bit. Be modest. Go on. Now I've got here a trophy.
Bad. I mean, I wanted when I went back to Everton, I wanted them they remembered me as a good player.
Yeah.
And when I said whenever I leave Everton Football Club, I want them to remember me as a successful manager. And hopefully today's gone a little way towards that.
Well, they'll remember you certainly as the manager who brought Everton back on a level with Liverpool. Now you've got to stay there. But let me show you this
Thank you.
at home. This is the Man of the Match award, and it's meant to be given to the Man of the Match. We had quite an argument about it. Some people thought Trevor Stephen and things like that. But it was a magnificent team performance today, and you could almost have given it to half a dozen or more Everton players. And I know how sensitive managers are sometimes. They say, oh, yeah, these media people, you know, they start pushing their noses in telling me who the best player is. What I'm going to do is throw it to you, not ask you now, but ask you to award that to your Man of the Match for Everton from the BBC without... there you are.
Many thanks, Jim. Many thanks. It may be the first one on the train tomorrow, actually.
Okay, will it be you?
Well, if you're on time, yes.
Cynthia, the kids, tell us how many you've got, what they are, and how they react to all this excitement.
We have 3 children. The eldest is a boy, 9½. We have a girl of 7 and a girl of 5. And they've had a wonderful day today. It started very early, at 5:45 this morning, and it's still going on now. They're celebrating downstairs. And I think they've had a day that it will take them a very long time to forget.
Yeah. The boy will remember it probably more than...
Oh, yes, I think so, yes.
Yeah. Footballer, is he?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah. Who was teaching him? His mum?
Yes.
With the time that I have with him, yes.
One of the blessings of being a manager. Could I ask you one thing? That moustache, which keeps coming on and off, is that a superstition? I mean, we have trouble matching you up when we're doing a feature on you, because one time you've got it, and next time... I mean, I know where my beard went, but I don't know what happens with your moustache.
No, it doesn't come on off, Jim. I had a little bit of a problem, which the doctor, the club doctor, who's...
Skin problem?
Yeah, well, yeah, honestly. And the doctor suggested that I didn't shave for a little while, and that was it. I mean, everybody started talking about superstitions. But, I mean, we were already in a good run then. So there was certainly no superstitions involved.
No, lovely. Well, I really wanted to know. I didn't know, but that problem's over. You haven't got many more.
I'd grow yours again, by the way.
You would? You think it's better? Oh, yeah, but it is great. Thank you anyway. Well, while we were enjoying the excitement at Wembley, there was an equally dramatic fixture north of the border between league champions Aberdeen and Celtic. Well, let's enjoy the highlights of that game now with Archie McPherson.
Strachan plays it away wide. Alec McLeish is up. Here's Black with a chance. Has it gone in? It has. Eric Black has scored for Aberdeen. 1-0. Aberdeen have taken the lead. Now McGee. Oh, does that better than anybody in the business. That's a great run, and that surely is a booking. Aiken was going to be left behind in the slipstream. Roy Aiken has been sent off. Celtic are reduced to 10 men, I suspect. Something must have been said. Danny McGray. Well, there's a chance, and there's the equaliser. Paul McStay. Celtic would not mind a replay out of this situation. Bell with a great goal! Off the post! I thought it was in. And then it is, yes! Mark McGee does it! 2-1. I thought it was going in the first time, it did the second. There he is, Willie Miller, captain of Aberdeen.
Well, Celtic second in all three competitions this year, but well done Aberdeen anyway. Think of that, you might have been second twice at Wembley, which would have been awful, wouldn't it? But
it certainly would.
It's a happy ending. Anyway, lovely, and well done to you both. And thank you for sharing the celebrations really with us. I'm sure it's a day you're never going to forget, not only because Everton are able to hold their heads high once again in that football-crazy city, but because of the way everyone involved behaved. It could be said that football began to find its soul again at Wembley on the 19th of May 1984. Let's hope that happens. Good night to you.
Their first major trophy for 14 years.